Are you as obsessed with Bridgerton as we are? Are you sick of waiting for the next season too? Well, if you're tired of watching the first 2 seasons on a loop, we might be able to help you out. In today's video, we'll tell you about the shows you should watch if you love Bridgerton. So let's dive in. Starting off with Outlander. This show is definitely one you should watch if you're into period pieces like Bridgerton. With full-blown puffy shirts and tight corsets, this show will take you back in time immediately. Outlander is a TV adaptation of an ongoing series of books by Diana Gabaldon. The story revolves around a nurse in the Second World War being swept back in time to 1743, where she meets a charming young Highland warrior. Thus begins her story of epic rebellion and being torn apart between 2 men and 2 vastly different lives. If you liked Bridgerton for the romance, trust us when we tell you that you're going to love this one. Right off the bat, there's electricity between Claire and Jamie. You can basically sense their connection from miles away. Fans gobbled it up when the show premiered back in 2014. The show is full of action and the plot will keep you hooked. Somehow, the show manages to keep you at the edge of your seat every single time. It's safe to say that Sam Heughan and Katrina Balfe are absolutely phenomenal. If you need any more convincing that the show is incredible, you could try going through the list of awards the show has won. It's even been nominated for an Emmy not once but 4 times. Get binging already. You can watch the whole series thus far on Starz, but the earlier seasons can be found on Netflix too. Next up, we have The Crown. If you thought Bridgerton was fun, get ready for another classic retelling of history, except this time it's through the lens of the very, very rich. This is yet another period piece that fans have raved about since the day it came out. This show follows Queen Elizabeth II's reign and the political rivalries and dramas that surrounded it. The show begins with a young, newlywed Queen Elizabeth II. It takes us to a time where a new era is dawning as the British Empire declines. The story progresses with a bunch of interesting characters from the world's biggest monarchy, political revolutionaries, and more. The time period The Crown revolves around is the 1920s to the 90s. Every season there's a different character that's focused on more. It's inherently popular because people love seeing the twists and the turns and the politics behind the actions the royals take. Essentially, it sheds a light on historical events like no show has ever done before. We get to see the behind the scenes of the events that shaped the second half of the last century. Of course, not all of the history this show tells is true, but you have to have some dramatic flair, right? The question we're all asking is, do you think the royals watch this show? Then there's Anne with an E. If Eloise happens to be your favorite Bridgerton, this is the show for you. If there's any word to describe it, it's magical, despite the lack of any actual magic displayed in the show. Anne with an E is based on the childhood classic Anne of Green Gables. It tells the story of a young, imaginative, orphan child named Annie, whose life does a full 180 when a brother and sister duo decide to adopt her. We watch as this dreamer progresses through life, seeing things in a way no one else quite would. As a child with a rough history, her view of the world is pretty different, and she's a bit of an outcast. Over time, though, things begin to change. Even though she's not really an orphan anymore, she faces new troubles she's never encompassed before. School, boys, and friendships enter the picture, and she has to navigate through them all. We grow along with her and understand her character so much more as the episodes develop. The story of Anne is beautiful. Although it's simple and based in the 19th century, it tackles so many problems that are still existent today, all while being extremely entertaining. It has gorgeous visuals, a strong female lead, and pacing that is done just right. Romance and drama build up with every episode, yet never too much to dilute the actual plot. If you love the enemies to lovers trope, you won't be able to resist this impeccable slow burn. This show is so loved globally that over 1 million fans signed petitions for Netflix to renew it for a 4th season when it was canceled. People even invaded Netflix's official Instagram to comment #RenewAnneWithAnE and #SaveAnneWithAnE, so that sums up all you need to know about how special it is. Up next, we have The Summer I Turned Pretty. This show, although new, has taken over the world. It's all over TikTok, and editors on Instagram are going all out. This one has a pretty simple premise too. It's about a 15-year-old who's always visited her best friends with her mom and brother during the summers at the cousin's beach house. She does the same this year, except this time she's all grown up and she's pretty. Isabel, or as her friends call her, Belly, finds herself going through some different waves of emotions this year. Boys never paid attention to her before, but now, Jeremiah and Conrad have never been more than just her her friends. But something in the air is different this time around. She's confused in ways she never expected to be. This show is a fun summertime watch, and binging it in one sitting is super easy. It's a cute teen romance, and it's finally one where the characters being Gen Z doesn't feel forced. Like Bridgerton, this show has tons of scenes that reek with tension, and you simply can't look away. You constantly find yourself questioning, am I Team Jelly or Team Bonrad? This show is based on a trilogy of books by Jimmy Han, who was also the writer to All the Boys I've Loved Before, so you already know what to expect. We also don't mind the fact that the soundtrack for The Summer I Turned Pretty is nothing short of amazing. It features a lot of modern music, including artists such as Taylor Swift, Tyler the Creator, and Conan Gray. All of the episodes of the first season can be caught on Amazon Prime. So what are you waiting for? Binge it right now. Moving forward, there's The Vampire Diaries. Though it's been a while since this show's been over, it's still something we constantly tell people to watch. It's 8 seasons long, but it takes no time taking over your life. Soon you'll find yourself confused, wondering how you possibly watched a whole season in one night. The main character here is Elena, whose life has been normal so far. But on her first day back at school, she runs into a new guy named Stefan and immediately feels something different with him. What Elena doesn't know is that Stefan and his brother Damon are actually vampires. The story unfolds rapidly, and every episode has you wanting for more. The brothers' banter with each other will keep you on your toes, and you won't be able to figure out who you're rooting for more. This show has everything you could hope for in a romance. It has a ton of I burn for you moments, and the chemistry between the characters is off the charts. Love triangles, enemies to lovers, forbidden love, jealous exes. What else do you need? Plus, there's doppelgangers and the perfect amount of fantasy to let you forget about the not-so-fun real world for a couple of hours. The historical throwbacks will also guarantee a feeling of watching something like Bridgerton. Finally, our last pick of the day is Crash Landing on You. Boy oh boy, this show hits it right out of the park when it comes to romance. Crash Landing on You is probably the best K-drama to ever exist, and we do not say that lightly. The plot is incredibly unique and fresh. It begins with a millionaire CEO from South Korea meeting an unfortunate paragliding mishap and ending up in North Korea. Afraid for her life and desperate to go back, Yoon Si-ri hides out with an army captain. Surprise, surprise, they start falling for each other. But being in love while your two nations don't get along isn't exactly easy. The slow burn in this show is actually immaculate. It's a definite 10 out of 10 in our books. The love scene between Yoon Si-ri and Captain Ri Jong-hyuk is so pure and natural. It radiates off the screen. At times, we forgot that we were watching a show. It reminded us a lot of Simon and Daphne's love blooming from what was initially a great friendship. The actors who play the main characters even ended up married in real life, so imagine how good they look together on screen. And that wraps up this video. Have you watched any of these shows? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one!